Ukrainian President Zelenskyy is calling on the United States to step up pressure on Russia to end the war and urging Ukraine and its European allies to support the current US-led peace negotiations that are being held in Miami. Well, Zelensky says that only US and its President Donald Trump have the power to push the Kremlin towards peace, though he remains skeptical about the latest negotiations if they will produce a breakthrough.
Треба, на мій погляд, Америці трішки,
In my view, the United States should exert slightly stronger pressure on the Russians and leave them no alternatives, because if this is not diplomacy, then America must clearly say, if not diplomacy, there will be full pressure, a very strong weapons package for Ukraine, very strong support for Ukraine, and comprehensive U.S. sanctions imposed on the entire Russian economy and on all sectors that generate revenue for Russia.
накладати повністю на всю економіку.
On the other hand, Russian President Vladimir Putin's special envoy, Kirill Dmitriev, described the discussions as constructive. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio promised not to force Ukraine into any agreement, saying no deal would move forward without Kiev's consent, and added that he may join the Miami talks. Now, the talks follow renewed Russian offensives, with Moscow claiming the capture of 2 villages in Ukraine's Sumy and Donetsk regions. In Odessa, the death toll from a Russian ballistic missile strike on port infrastructure has risen to 8, with almost 36 people said to be wounded. Putin has vowed to press ahead with military operations while suggesting that strikes could pause to allow Ukraine to hold elections, a proposal that Zelensky has rejected. Zelensky says that Ukraine cannot independently finance its armed forces at a strength of 800,000 personnel and is considering partial funding with support from its international partners. Well, Sweden has announced it will provide Kiev with $200 million in direct budget support in 2026, funding public services, pensions, healthcare and energy needs. Japan has committed nearly $6 billion in financial assistance for the coming year, aimed at strengthening Ukraine's economy and defense.